Back in 1990, the very last person you wanted to upset was Iron Mike Tyson. At the time, the self-styled baddest man on the planet was approaching his most baddest.
Mike Tyson at the time was considered the greatest, if not one of the greatest ever heavyweight boxers, certainly pound for pound, the greatest boxer on the planet at that moment.
He was the youngest ever heavyweight champion of the world, undefeated in 37 fights.
I remember, talking when I was at school, rumours about Tyson's so good, he's going to fight twice in an evening. And actually thinking he'd still win both of them because he was that good a boxer and no one was close to him.
He held all 4 belts, he had mountains of money, and he even had his own video game. So when he announced his decision to fight the unknown James "Buster" Douglas, everybody expected it to be a walkover.
I'm still in great shape and there's no way I could lose.
It's very simple. Mike Tyson was an animal and Buster Douglas was a sort of journeyman no-hoper, and there was just no way that Buster Douglas could have beaten Mike Tyson.
All of which meant that when he stepped into the ring on the 11th of February 1990, nobody gave him a chance. The world sat back and awaited the inevitable Tyson knockout.
Mike will try to get in and land that big right hand anytime he can. Buster, who's got a pretty good left hand, you see that jab he's trying to hold Mike off. That right hand got through. Surprise.
What happens is Mike's got it all wrong. He thinks this guy's just going to fall over, and Douglas has got it all right. High guard, big long jab, and it doesn't miss Tyson. He's hitting Tyson constantly.
After just a few rounds, it was becoming apparent that this was no ordinary Tyson fight.
Mike never used to be hit as much as he's been hitting this fight. Oh, big right hand landed that time. He's here to fight.
Buster Douglas was using his best weapon, which was his reach and a good jab, to keep Tyson away. And Tyson would generally, it was kind of like Joe Frazier, only faster and harder, come right in at you and start landing the punches, and people would back up. That was the mistake. And Buster Douglas was pretty much holding his ground and jabbing away.
Now you see what I mean about backing him off? This is the first guy I've seen that's been able to do this, as I say that.
This was by far the most punishment Tyson had ever taken. By the end of the 5th round, incredibly, his eyes started to swell up.
And if Buster was out of gas in the early going of this round, he's got it back together in the late portion here. Raising left hand, chopping right, missing.
Tyson fought on, and in the 8th round, Douglas let his guard down for just a second. That was all it would take.
Oh, that's a nice uppercut that time! That drops Buster Douglas!
Douglas was down, and as the whole world knew, nobody got up when Tyson knocked you down.
He thought, right, I got up. Tyson knocked me down, I got up. What's Tyson going to make of that? That didn't happen with Tyson.
Did he buster the legs tonight? I don't know.
And then Tyson's back on the ropes, and he's never really been in that situation properly before. So Tyson really believed in his invincibility until that point.
Douglas had already fought the fight of his life, but in the 10th, the unthinkable happened.
Oh, nice uppercut by Buster Douglas! Look at this! He's knocked Mike Tyson down for the first time in his career! Mike Tyson hits the canvas! He's in big trouble! He may not be able to recover! It's up to 7 and 8! He's not gonna make it! Unbelievable! 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 Buster Douglas is the new heavyweight champion of the world!
Tyson was defeated for the first time in his career, and James "Buster" Douglas was the new champion.
It was like watching the Berlin Wall come down. It was something that I had never imagined in my lifetime I was going to see.
And it's just one of those beautiful moments in sport where everything came right for Douglas and everything went horribly wrong for Tyson.
I just still remember that sense of disbelief. Mike Tyson, the most unbeatable fighter of them all, getting beaten by a no-hoper.
But what the world didn't know was that this wasn't the fearsome Iron Mike of old.
What people didn't realize, I think, was that Mike Tyson hadn't been training as hard as he should have. And he was coming off a terrible 2 years. He'd divorced Robin Givens, who had taken him for a ride and got him on tranquilizers, and embarrassed him on TV. And he'd also broken up with Kevin Rooney, who was his real down-to-earth trainer.
What Mike Tyson got caught up in was the money, was the whole bandwagon thing. The people around him knew he was going to explode, but no one knew he was going to explode in Tokyo against Buster Douglas. And anybody who tells you they knew that was going to happen is an absolute lie. Ask to see the betting slip.
Tyson had been below his best, but at the time the defeat was earth-shattering.
Even if Tyson hadn't trained properly for that fight and Douglas had been listening to Eye of the Tiger, he still shouldn't have got close to him. He still shouldn't have even gone past 3 or 4 rounds with him. They were worlds apart, and it was, for my money, one of the greatest upsets ever, if not the greatest upset.